I'm going to talk very briefly about on-the-spot situations. So this is when something uncomfortable might happen and how you might respond so that you can teach sexuality education in the way that we're proposing in class this week. So you've watched a little snippet of a boy and his mother having a conversation around the hair down there. So I'm going to use that as an example. It's a very safe example because it's a mother and their child, and it's in a very safe situation. But I'm going to use it to try to explain what I'm talking about. The first thing to do is do a body check, which is a pulse check, heart check, head check. And what that is your body is very good at telling you that it's uncomfortable. Your pulse rises, your heart or your emotions are telling you things, and there's also your head starts to try to think about how it's going to respond. So a good thing is to step back, take a deep breath, do a body check, and think about how's this situation making you feel and what do you want to happen. So sometimes it's very appropriate to delay it, sometimes it might be important to ignore it, and other times it might be important to respond and act on it. And that's sometimes a good first strategy, is to think about, I've had a response, what do I want to happen? The next important step is to do an environmental check. So you've done your body check and then you start to look around you. So think about, is this situation being influenced by things that are happening in society or maybe the family? You need to have also a think of, where is this situation happening? So where's the setting, who's onlooking, and to think about how they might be impacted, and is this a good time to respond and act? So in the example of the car and the mother and child, it was quite appropriate. It was a good setting to be having that conversation, and there were no onlookers. And there was a societal or an environmental reason why that question was being asked. So that's step 2, which then leads us to step 3. Step 3 is about thinking about the developmental stage that the child is at and the onlookers are at and where you're at. So for the child in the car, developmentally his peers were starting to go through puberty and he wasn't. So there was definitely a developmental influence in this situation. And then you need to think about what you can say to affirm each person. So developmentally we're all at different stages, even as adults. So you need to think of ways to affirm each person and acknowledge what might be true for each person. And when you watch that mother explain to the child that we all go through puberty in different times, that's what she's doing in that instance. So step 4 is about thinking, when in this response to an on-the-spot situation, how you might model empathy and empowerment. So it's really important for a child's sense of self that you investigate rather than interrogate. So you might ask, why do you believe that, rather than say, I don't think that's right, where did you get that view from? And it's important to acknowledge the feelings, especially if it's a controversial topic or people believe different things, the feelings of all the people involved. So a lot of the times children get their values and beliefs from families. So they might repeat that in your classroom. And if you don't model some of that empathy and empowerment and acknowledging each other's feelings, what you're saying is that those beliefs are wrong. Even if we believe they're wrong, it's important that we still model that empathy and empowerment. The other really important thing is to make a mental note for follow-up plans around that scenario. So if you did a body check and it's saying that this might be uncomfortable, or developmentally you think there needs to be some follow-up, you need to act on that. So what images can you bring in? What activities might you do? It might be that 2 weeks' time you do some kind of values activity to counter some of that bias. These are the 5 steps we'll be discussing in class.